I've been dreading to do this project, but I have the parts. So it's time to do the timing belt and the water pump on the 03. So on top of doing the timing belt, I'm also replacing all the pulleys and idlers. So I have the Grim Speed lightweight crank pulley. All right, so we got that. We have our Gates AC belt, and we have our alternator power belt. We have our timing belt. So this kit I went with, I didn't go with Gates timing kit just because I heard that these pulleys are being made in China. So I went with Eisen, I think it's what they're called. And I'll put the part number down below or somewhere on the screen just for you guys that have a 2003 WRX. Ordered an OEM AC idler pulley, cam lock tool from Company 23. A Torque Solution timing belt guide. This is the Eisen water pump. Yeah, so it's their water pump. So the big thing and the big fuss are all these pulleys, just making sure they're from Japan. NTN Japan. This is the NSK bearing. It's the sprocket one. Exactly what we want to see. NSK, you got Japan. This is also the exact bearings Subaru uses. There you go, you got Koyo, and you got Japan right there. Same thing with this one, Koyo, Japan. And last but not least, the tensioner. The NTN Japan, and also, I think this is some sort of stamp or date. This is what you're looking for. So this is gonna be a crazy job, but we'll get it done. You're gonna wanna remove your alternator cover, whichever you have. The next thing you're going to want to do is remove your coolant from your radiator, because you will be removing the radiator itself. Don't forget to remove your undercover. Underneath the car, you'll find your lower radiator hose. Go ahead and remove the clamp that's holding it and let the coolant flow out. Oh, there she goes. I'm pretty sure I made a mess. First thing you're going to want to do after you've drained your fluids, you're going to remove these 12mm bolts from the brace of the radiator, remove all your hoses, and then we'll go into removing your fans. Go ahead and remove the 10mm bolts right here and right here on your coolant overflow tank. Once you have removed your hoses, you're going to remove 5 10mm bolts that are connected to the top. Disconnect your fans from the bottom, remove this line, and pull your fans out. Loosen the 12mm bolts here. Loosen this 12mm bolt, pull down this tensioner, remove these two 12mm bolts, and you'll be able to remove the AC idler pulley. So I'm about to replace the AC idler pulley, if you want to listen. So for this crank pulley, you're going to have somebody go into the car, put it in 5th gear, step on the brake while you break this bolt loose on the crank pulley. The middle one. I hope you got that on camera. Cannabis. Step on the brake. Brake. Remove the 10mm bolts holding in your timing belt covers. I purchased this nifty cam lock tool, so when I remove the timing belt, my cams don't shift over. Make sure your timing marks are all aligned. So you got your top, your side, your double on both sides. Then you're going to want to remove the lower idler. It's going to be a 14. And then you're going to remove your timing belt. Here's proof that Mitsubishi, it's the OEM one, that I just took off. On the left you have the old idler pulleys, and on the right you have the new ones. Some of these are looking pretty beat up, but that's why we got the new ones to install. Next we're going to remove the water pump. All these bolts are 10mm. Alright, this took longer than expected with this water pump. These hoses, these bypass hoses, were kind of a bitch to take off. This is the gasket that was on it. But depending on the state of where the gasket was, I would definitely go ahead and clean some of it off, take some gunk off, so that when you put your new water pump, it is nice and sealed. That's not good. So this is the new design, actually, versus the old one. This is getting pretty crappy, wow. Remember the orientation, the floaty goes up. And stick it in, just like so. So these screws get torqued down to 5 foot-pounds. So go ahead and replace the new gaskets. Go ahead and get your screws and put your water pump back on. Make sure all these bolts are torqued down to 10 foot-pounds. And reinstall all your hoses. Go ahead and reinstall all your idlers. Your idlers will be at 30 foot-pounds. Your tensioner will be at 20 foot-pounds. But make sure to leave the bottom left one out. Alright, so the timing belt was a little more of an issue than I expected. I ended up, for some reason, removing my cam lock tool. Then I was like, oh man, it's not aligned. So then it sprung under tension. Then I had to realign it. It was such a big pain in the ass, but everything's put together. I'm about to install my timing belt guide because there's not one in here. So I'm going to do that. Cover everything up. Pretty much do everything in reverse order. Put some coolant. Alright, with the covers put on, go ahead and install your new crank pulley. Make sure you clean off the old bolt and dip it in some engine oil, and then install it. Alright, with all the hoses, the fans plugged back in, we're going to fill the coolant. Hopefully she runs and I didn't do anything wrong. And let's just cross some fingers. Tell you how annoying this job was. It wasn't even that the timing belt was hard. Self-caused issues. I ended up putting my radiator hose like backwards, and so after the fact that I had put coolant in already, so I had to flip it, and coolant kind of spilled everywhere, and the burping process also takes a bit. So the car is better than ever, and I can't wait to finally get it on the road, healthier than ever, and finally enjoy the 03 after all this maintenance I've done to it. Who knows where this car will lead me. My 17 is sitting right there, and we'll just keep going